dark and eerie jungle at midnight, thick mist swirling around ancient twisted trees. In the foreground, a masked priest draped in tattered ceremonial robes stands menacingly, his mask made of woven bone, hollow eyes glowing faintly. Behind him, ghostly figures with twisted, elongated limbs emerge from the shadows, their forms flickering between human and spirit. A deep red tribal marking glows on a massive stone altar, pulsating like a heartbeat. The explorers, wide-eyed with terror, clutch ancient maps and torches, their backs against the gnarled roots that seem to move on their own. Above, the sky cracks with unnatural purple lightning, illuminating eerie carvings on the jungle trees, faces twisted in silent screams. A shadow fell over the group as the priest's eerie presence sucked the warmth from the air. The explorers shuddered, their breath misting even in the thick jungle heat. A deep, guttural chant rose around them, the spectral figures joining in as they swayed in rhythmic unison. Kwame clutched his chest, his heartbeat erratic. "We didn't come to disturb. We were only seeking knowledge." The priest lifted a skeletal hand. Knowledge comes at a cost. The jungle floor trembled. Vines shot up like striking serpents, ensnaring their legs, yanking them to their knees. Amina shrieked, struggling as the vines coiled tighter, their thorns pressing into her skin. Blood trickled down her arms. Aid, still trapped in the unnatural trance, walked forward, his movements stiff, as if he were being pulled by unseen strings. His mouth opened, and a voice that wasn't his own rasped, "The debt must be paid." A chilling wail erupted from the priest's mask, a sound so sharp it vibrated in their bones. Amina's vision blurred, and for a brief moment, she saw something beyond reality, a vast, endless pit filled with writhing bodies, their faces contorted in agony as unseen forces flayed their flesh, souls forever trapped. Then she snapped back. The ritual had begun. Kwame fought against his restraints, veins bulging against his skin. "There must be another way. Let us go." The priest tilted his head, as if considering. Then, his hollow voice echoed, "Escape is earned." The vines released Kwame and Amina, but the ground beneath them cracked open, revealing a staircase descending into an abyssal darkness. The priest pointed. "Survive, and you may leave. Fail, and you become one with Nyoka." The explorers exchanged terrified glances. They had no choice, and so, one by one, they stepped into the darkness below. The descent was steep and suffocating, the walls of the staircase lined with ancient carvings depicting figures in agony, some human, others not. The air smelled of damp earth and decay. Amina ran her fingers over one of the carvings. "This is older than anything we've ever studied. It's a warning." Kwame turned his flashlight forward, its weak beam barely cutting through the consuming blackness. "Keep moving." As they reached the bottom, the air grew heavier, vibrating with an unnatural force. A vast chamber sprawled before them, its ceiling lost to darkness. In the center stood a massive stone altar, etched with pulsating symbols. Around it, skeletal remains lay scattered, some still clutching weapons, others frozen in expressions of horror. A single doorway yawned open at the far end. Amina hesitated. "This place, it's a tomb." A low growl reverberated through the chamber. From the shadows, something moved. Aid, still lifeless in expression, stepped forward. His voice, hollow and distant, spoke in a tongue not his own. "The trial begins." The ground trembled, and from the dark corners of the chamber, figures emerged, twisted remnants of the village's lost souls. Their eyes glowed an eerie green, their forms flickering between corporeal and spectral. One of them lunged. Kwame barely dodged as skeletal fingers raked the air where he had stood. The others followed, their shrieks filling the cavern as they surged forward. The explorers scrambled, knocking over bones and artifacts in their desperate escape. Amina grabbed a rusted dagger from the ground and slashed wildly, its blade unexpectedly slicing through the ghostly form, causing it to shriek and dissolve. "Weapons work!" she shouted. Kwame grabbed a ceremonial staff, swinging it with all his strength. The creatures recoiled, hissing. Aid raised his hands. "Only one may leave." The priest's voice echoed in their minds. "Survive, or join the forgotten." The realization dawned. This was no test of knowledge. It was a sacrifice, and they were the offering. Will they escape the tomb, or become its next eternal prisoners? Find out in part 3.